everybody. I'm Mai. I'm a trans woman, a storyteller, and someone learning every day what it means to live honestly in a world that doesn't always make space for it. This is an originally unplanned episode that I was inspired to create after the recent spooky holidays. As a horror and psychological thriller film lover, I thought I might mix a little philosophy and cinematic leisure for a fun minisode. But before we get into cinema, let's look at Halloween as a ritual of transformation. For one night, we invert the everyday. Anyone can don a costume and become someone or something else. Anthropologist Victor Turner described Carnival as a liminal space where the forbidden becomes play, a brief release for repressed desires. In the Middle Ages, youths even cross-dressed and mocked authority during Hallowtide. But by dawn, the masks come off and order snaps back, ritual transgression restoring the norm. Yet, beneath the laughter lies something truer. Psychoanalyst Jean Rivière wrote that womanliness can be worn as a mask, as a tactic to hide and appease. Later thinkers saw gender itself as a performance, a costume that we learn to perfect. Halloween makes that visible. A burly man in a fairy dress, a girl swaggering as Dracula. The curtain lifts, if only for a night, and I remember one such night. A few years ago, before my egg cracked, our friend group threw an Alice in Wonderland themed Halloween party, and someone, half-jokingly, assigned me the White Queen because I was the group's only white friend. It was meant as harmless fun, but as I stood before the mirror, layering on concealer over the closest shave of my life, I felt something shift. Beneath the clumsy makeup and thrift store curtains, a queen was taking shape. My arms were still hairy. My beard shadow would return before midnight. And yet I felt radiant, free. My friends even teased that I wore the costume just a little bit too well. For a few hours, I was lighter, brighter, until, much like Cinderella, the night ended. I wiped away the makeup, watched the woman fade, and I looked away from the mirror because I couldn't look anymore. As Simone de Beauvoir put it, one is not born, but becomes a woman. Literature has long explored that kind of becoming. That gap between authentic self and imposed identity is where horror and liberation often germinate. We yearn to define ourselves, yet culture polices who may change and how. Rivière's mask appeased patriarchy. Beauvoir's Becoming exposes gender as a script. Horror blooms when the script is enforced, when we are told to take off the costume that fits and return to the role we were assigned. So here's my thesis. Spoken simply, the horror is not change at all. It is losing authorship over what you become. When transformation is coerced or forbidden, it feels monstrous. When it is chosen, it heals. In this special post-Halloween minisode, we will explore that idea through film, how horror, thriller, and science fiction mirror our own struggles for self-authorship and bodily sovereignty. This examination may be from a trans lens, but there are many ideas here that many of you may relate to. So whether you are trans, questioning, an ally, or simply curious, you are welcome here. So welcome to Whispers of Self. Okay, spoiler warning ahead for the films that we're discussing. Chapters will be marked, so you can always skip ahead. We begin with the oldest on our list, David Cronenberg's The Fly from 1986. It is the nightmare of transformation without consent. Scientist Seth Brundle fuses with a housefly in a teleportation accident gone wrong and begins to disintegrate. People have often read it as an AIDS allegory, considering the time. Cronenberg, while not denying this, has said that the deeper frame was aging and mortality, a consciousness stuck inside a mortal, failing body. His hair falls out, teeth loosen, nails slough away. The slow entropy we all face is condensed into weeks. He goes on, I'm an insect.
Who dreamt he was a man and loved it. But now the dream is over. and the insect is wet.
His body becomes a prison. There is a small, awful moment. The mirror, the tooth, the sink. What is happening to me? Am I dying? He says. Cronenberg once said that death is the basis of all horror. The Fly makes that basis literal. Seth never chose this. His agency peels away with his fingernails, and in the end, while half metal and half insect, he lowers a weapon to his head and begs for mercy. This is horror as exile from the self. For trans viewers like me, Brundle's metamorphosis lands as a foil. His change disintegrates identity, while transition, when chosen and supported, integrates it. Society pities the natural horror of unchosen decay through our aging, while also often condemning intentional alignment of body and self through intervention. When a trans person seeks hormonal or surgical change to prevent a different kind of disintegration, psychic collapse, we are often told to endure it. The Fly reveals a simple inversion. The terror is not that bodies change. It is being condemned to changes or non-changes that we never chose. I remember my own mirror. 23, bathroom light too bright, stubble traced with 2 fingers. Not the worst face, but under that light, I felt my features drift away from me, as if the glass was erasing someone I knew and replacing her with a role that I never wanted. I would think, whose face is that? Not mine, I whispered. Horror, small and private, with no soundtrack. Just a body that felt like it was in control of me, and not the other way around. This is but a spooky teaser of what gender dysphoria is like for many trans people. If The Fly shows unchosen transformation, then our next film, The Ugly Stepsister, released this year in 2025, shows coerced transformation. Beauty as violence. Director Emilie Blichfeld's body horror reimagining of Cinderella asks what happens when perfection is enforced. Critics note the film's lineage to Angela Carter's subversive fairy tales and its hyper-awareness of patriarchal imagery. The film's stepmother character, Rebecca, seeks to refashion her daughter, Elvira, into a proper bride. Elvira is often called ugly, only for failing a narrow ideal. The makeovers are medieval surgery. Chiseled noses, sewn lashes, tapeworm eggs for slimming, and corsets pulled to bruised ribs. There's even a montage that spares no detail. Teeth yanked, flesh bound and sliced, with the worm swallowed with milk to gorge without gaining. As its review in web magazine Fangoria observed, it is a manic catalog of what women endure to be desirable, and how a pretty woman can be driven to hideousness in the pursuit of being chosen. The film makes an old idea visible. Beauty's good face is built atop secret wounds. Feminist horror writer Barbara Creed refers to this as the monstrous feminine, how female bodies outside the norm are labeled abject. Blichfeld flips the mirror. The stitch-scarred body of Elvira inspires our empathy. The flawless face of the film's version of Cinderella, however, hides rot. So who is the monster? The girls remade into freaks for love? Or the system that demands the remaking? That question echoes in trans life. Many of us, before we had language or safety, tried to fix ourselves by overcompensating and overcorrecting. The literature even names a pattern here. The closeted flight into hypermasculinity. I remember it. The mask so convincing that no one saw the girl inside. I didn't just wear that mask. I believed in it as a sort of penance. That belief carved me up from the inside. 2024's The Substance by Coralie Farja updates the coercion for celebrity culture. An aging star, Elizabeth, uses biotech, substance, to sprout a young clone, Sue, who can take her place at will. It is a satirical splatter where every wrinkle we're told to hide literally explodes on screen. Everything you ask us to hide, it will explode, Farja said. And it does. Elizabeth cracks open, literally. Sue slides out, slick with gore. And when separated from Sue, Elizabeth's body waits in rot, her survival tethered to the young image. The metaphor is blunt, but earned. To maintain a public mask, the self must be starved. These kinds of beauty standards describe a violent duality, how we look versus how we must look to please. In the film, the deal curdles quickly. Sue hungers for life, while Elizabeth withers when she isn't wearing youth. Predator and prey inside one body. Farja nails the heart of it. The distinction between who you are and who you are trying to be becomes the real violence. Our pearly smiles are made of so many horrendous things we keep within, she admits. In other words, the mask is built from swallowed pain. There is a sliver of hope, however. Farja talks about exploding the idea of beauty to show that the hidden parts were part of us all along. Themes that closely mirror trans feminist writer Susan Stryker when she says, "You are as constructed as me." And if that is true, then the question becomes whether we integrate or split. Both Elizabeth and Sue can annihilate each other or reconcile. Anyone who's lived a double life knows the stakes. I did. By day, I performed that version of me I thought the world wanted. And by night, I let the softer one breathe. That split wasn't dramatic. It was quiet cannibalization. One of us would eventually end the other. The pursuit of perfection became her prison. Saying no became her freedom. Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue from 1997 predicted our era of screens policing the self. Mima, the main character, is a former pop idol turned actress. She faces a public that insists that she remain pure. A blog that suddenly and secretly appears, called Mima's Room, begins narrating her days as if authored by a past version of herself that never left the stage. The film collapses set in street. Reality and scenes bleed together. The film seems to have an obsession with perception, performance, and the female image from its first frame. The point is not to trick us. It is to show how mediated identity makes reality untrustworthy. Mima believes that she is hallucinating a double. Idol Mima, in a white dress, who hovers around in reflections, sneering that the real Mima would never do these roles. Another character, a stalker, believes that the idol is the true Mima, and the actress is an imposter. There's a streetlight scene. The idol version sings while the living Mima crouches in shadow. But later, the mask slips. And, spoiler alert, we learn that Mima's manager Rumi has been impersonating Idol Mima to preserve the brand, so convinced that she turns out willing to kill for it. And in the movie's final confrontation, Mima fights her idealized doppelganger to survive. Rumi lives, but the illusion dies. The last scene is quiet. A triumphant Mima visits her former manager Rumi in a mental hospital. Nurses, when seeing her, quip that the real Mima would never be in a hospital like this. But the same Mima, having become more confident in her identity, looks in the mirror closely and says to us, the audience, "No, I am real." To me, it is that moment that authorship clicks back into the body. Anyone who's transitioned knows some version of this. Though many of my friends have been incredibly supportive and kind during my transition, many still struggle with the version of me they knew before versus who I am today. And in those moments of accidental misgendering and misrepresentation, I feel split, with the idol-like mask of manhood I once wore appearing in the reflection stepping out of the mirror. In those moments, regardless of how well I hide it, a part of me shudders and forces me to remind myself, just like Mima, I am real. This is real. This is me now. And no one gets to define me but me. In her last film, my favorite kind of exploration of self, Mamoru Oishii's Ghost in the Shell from 1995 is not horror at all, but a cyberpunk meditation on identity, technology, and transformation. A perfect counterpart to the body horrors we've seen so far, set in a future where cybernetic enhancement is routine. The film follows Major Motoko Kusanagi, a cyborg special ops agent whose ghost, her mind and memories, is human, but whose shell, her robotic body, is entirely artificial. She is both human and machine, mind and metal. Throughout the film, Motoko grapples with the boundaries of selfhood. If her body is replaceable, what makes her, her? Is she more than the sum of her parts? She feels something shifting within her, as though her consciousness is outgrowing its container. The film's climax brings her face to face with a rogue AI known as the Puppet Master. It has become self-aware and seeks to merge with her, offering not destruction, but evolution. Motoko hesitates, afraid of dissolution. Will I still be me? She asks. The Puppet Master's response is simple and profound. There is no guarantee. Why would you wish for one? All things change in a dynamic environment. Your effort to remain what you are is what limits you. I get a chill when I hear that. In that moment, Motoko understands that identity is not meant to be static. It is meant to grow. She accepts the merge. Her old self dies, in a sense, but a new being is born entirely. A hybrid consciousness that embodies both human intuition and artificial vastness. In the final scene, Motoko awakens in a smaller, younger body. Her voice, an eerie blend of both entities, looking out over a sprawling network city. She whispers,
"The net is vast and infinite."
It is not an ending, it is an emergence. Ghost in the Shell turns the traditional horror of transformation into something transcendent. Change here is not decay, but evolution. Motoko crosses every boundary that once defined her, human and machine, self and other, even male and female, and finds the freedom in the act of becoming. The film reframes the question of what it means to be human, saying perhaps humanity was never about biology, but about consciousness, awareness, and the courage to change. See where I'm going with this? For me, and for many trans viewers, Motoko's journey carries a quiet truth. She literally changes bodies and even voices, yet remains herself, or rather, becomes more fully herself than ever before. Her story captures what transition can feel like when it's no longer about loss, but about integration or alignment. When we stop clinging to the version of ourselves the world demanded and allow the one inside to emerge. The film's quote, "Your effort to remain what you are is what limits you." That line could hang on a mirror like a mantra for all trans people, or maybe just all people. Because sometimes authorship means surrendering the old draft of who we were and trusting that what comes next will still be us, only freer. Across these metamorphoses, one thread. Who controls change? When transformation is imposed by disease, by beauty codes, by public policing, the story reads as horror. When change is chosen, claimed, it becomes a path out. The monster is not altered body. The monster is the force that forbids the becoming. Trans scholar Susan Stryker took the slur and turned it into a blade that cuts a path. I am a transsexual, and therefore I am a monster, not as a confession, but as reclamation. Just as slurs against the queer community were reclaimed, so too could monster, creature, unnatural, be worn as armor. Stryker's point is not that we are inhuman, but that the border called nature is policed and political. She says to the gatekeepers, the nature you use against me is a lie. You are as constructed as me. The same anarchic womb birthed us both. Heed my words, and you may discover the seams and sutures in yourself. When the monster speaks, the mask of normal tears a little. If the price of truth is abjection, then Stryker dares us to pay it, and so flourish. Bell Hooks describes love as the ground of honest life. To love oneself is to see oneself clearly and accept what is seen. Even when the mirrors around you are warped, love refuses coercion. It will not ask someone to wear a mask for our comfort. Care and affirmation are the work. In that light, authorship is love. of self and others. We let each other become. We remove the hand at the throat and call it care. That is the groundwork. In The Fly, Seth Brundle lost authorship to a machine. In The Ugly Stepsister, Elvira's body was carved by an ideal that was never hers. In The Substance, Elizabeth succumbed to her reflection. In Perfect Blue, Mima had to silence a ghost made of other people's expectations. And in Ghost in the Shell, Motoko stepped into a future without guarantees and found wholeness. My own life has included each of these in miniature. The mirror fear, dysphoria. The coercive mask, overcompensation to escape transition. The policed identity, patriarchal society. The yes to becoming, self-acceptance, and transition. So here's where I land. The horror is not transformation. It is the hand that forbids it. It is the door that slammed on a life that wants you to grow. And the relief is simple and immense. When I author my change, the monster turns human again. When you author yours, the seams and sutures become features and not flaws. Susan Stryker blesses the creature who risks abjection and flourishes anyway. Bell Hooks tells us to look through beyond the flesh and distortions and accept what is truly there. I pass those blessings forward. We will write our own stories of becoming, and if that makes us monsters to some, then fine. We will be glorious monsters, clear-eyed, stitched with care, and free at last. The body I chose is beautiful because I chose it, and in that authorship, I am free. And so to close us out, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking around, and thanks for hanging out with me while we explore all these different kinds of videos. I was so pleased, so happy with the response, even the critical response of my last video, that I am truly inspired and privileged to be making these videos for everybody. I really hope you do continue to enjoy them, and as always, my little mandatory, please like and subscribe and hit the bell for all the notifications and things like that. I am looking at other opportunities to expand on this and try to be more inclusive of everybody and their views, as well as create opportunities for more kinds of discussions. And I hope that this video was fun to watch and engaging. So thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye.